welcome back to the debate. With me I have Gary Rowett and of course Paul Merson. We are now going to speak about Chelsea and Manchester United. Both of those teams dropping points from winning positions this weekend. Let's focus on Chelsea first of all, because that was the youngest Chelsea side to ever be fielded in the Premier League. First of all, what did you make of their performance? And obviously they were 2-0 up, and then for Sheffield United to pull it back 2-2, a great performance from Sheffield United. But what do you think Chelsea could have done better?
Well, I think they've been similar in some of the games, haven't they? I mean, you have to admire the fact that Frank Lampard wants to go young and give some of these players an opportunity. I'm sure that if you look at the last 3 Chelsea managers, you would imagine they probably wouldn't have given Mount an opportunity, wouldn't have played the likes of Abraham instead of Giroud and Tomori. But I saw the same game against Leicester. You know, Leicester, first half, Chelsea were very good for 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, real intensity. And then just when it came down to managing those moments of the game and just showing a little bit more, not necessarily experience, because I think young players can do it, but I think just that game management, the game just became too open. And I think Leicester certainly and Sheffield United just got that momentum back into the game. And young team or not, you know, certainly if you want to win a lot of games in the Premier League, which I'm sure they do, you're going to have to manage those moments a lot better.
You've still got Premier League experience in that team. We talk about the youngsters and we say it's the youngest that they've ever fielded in the Premier League. Do you expect more from the players that are tried and tested in the Premier League and the more experienced and the older bodies?
I wouldn't say I would expect more. I think, you know, that they've hit the front, and I thought against... I was disappointed with them last 30 minutes against Man United. I thought they literally threw in the towel and just drifted away. It's an hard one. When you're a new manager, you want to come out and you want to sort of entertain. I mean, I'm a Chelsea fan. You know, when Mourinho won the league, if Mourinho was 2-0 up against Sheffield United, he'd bring off a forward and put on another defensive midfield player, and that was the end of the game, end of. And the other team knew that as well. The other team knew that. The other teams don't know that now. They haven't. Chelsea haven't got that fear factor like they did when Mourinho was there. You know, now teams like Leicester, they stayed in the game, and at the end, Leicester were the team that maybe looked like they were going to win the game. I like Frank. I think you get experience. I think Mount, as Gary said, would someone else have played Mount? I think he's a special player. I do. Abrahams has scored 4 goals now. I mean, the two have been against teams that have come up against his bread and butter of last season. But that gives him the confidence to go on now and do what he does. But we only do this by learning. You only get that by learning. You don't get it by 5 games down the road, you go, oh, you out the team. And then it's back to square one. Patience, patience. You know, these are young kids. And Chelsea have got an aim. Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool are so far ahead of everybody now. It's sort of another sort of situation. If Chelsea got in the top 4 this season, Frank would get Manager of the Year, in my opinion. You know, to come into the Premier League and to do, and they've got to win games. They've got to win games. That's a hard thing to do. You know, when you've lost your best player, one of the best players in the world in Hazard. You know, he's up against it, Frank, and I think he'll get the patience, get these youngsters in the team, and a lot of energy. But at the moment, I think you don't have to always entertain. You know, do a Mourinho. You know, I got caught up in that when I was at Walsall. You know, different level, but you think, oh, I'm in this job, I better keep on entertaining here. Otherwise, the fans are going to get the ump. And in the end, you don't. You know, you need to be clued in, and you need to go, you know, let's shut up here. Thanks a lot. Nice win. Another 3 points.
It'd be interesting to see what Chelsea want, really, wouldn't it? Because if you think about last season, they finished... I mean, it was amazing. I had to look again. I thought they'd finished 4th, and then to see they finish 3rd and Sarri and to win...
3rd, won the Europa and lost in a League Cup final, which you should have won.
But still wasn't particularly popular with the fans, was it? So maybe there is a remit, you know, particularly with the transfer embargo. Maybe it's a period where, you know, let's put young players in and entertain. And like we said earlier, you've got to give him credit for that, Frank Lampard. He did a similar thing at Derby last season. But at some point, obviously, you're going to have to win games regardless of how young your team is.
It's weird, really, because when we go Chelsea last season, Sarri always used to get hammered by the fans. You know, oh, Jorginho's in the team again. Jorginho. It's weird, really, but Jorginho's been one of the best players.
Yeah.
Under Frank. So it's strange, but Sarri probably left on because of that, because the fans just couldn't have it. They would go, oh, get Jorginho out of the team and all. And I think, you know, at the start of the season, I think he's been Chelsea's best player, or one of them.
You mentioned Tammy Abraham and how much he's been scoring in the last 2 games. This is what it looks like compared to the other players in the Premier League at the moment. At the top of the table, as you'd expect at the moment, Sergio Aguero with 6 goals for Manchester City. Timo Pukki's up there with 5. Raheem Sterling also on 5. And then you've got Tammy Abraham and Ashley Barnes both on 4. Paul, you mentioned it there. Those 2 goals in this game against a team that he knows how to play against, and the previous one as well in Norwich. Does the test really come when you put yourself, the likes of Tammy Abraham, up against the big teams, the top-tier teams in the Premier League? How do you think he's going to do against those? We did see him hit the post, actually, against Manchester United, didn't we?
I think he's got better in the games. I mean, he hasn't played at this level very often. I mean, I've seen a lot of Tammy Abraham at Bristol City on loan, where he had a fantastic season, at Villa on loan, but it's the Championship, and of course, sometimes people ask that question: has he got the all-round game, you know, like a Giroud? But I think what he has got, he's got more mobility. You know, I think he can press better from the front, because that's certainly an aspect that Frank Lampard wants. And if he scores goals like he has done, you know, why not see if he can improve? I think it's difficult. When you look at a team like Chelsea, you expect them to have 2 or 3. We talk about Arsenal's front 3. You know, if Chelsea got that type of quality in the front 3, I'm not sure. But maybe he'll prove that. You know, he's early days yet, isn't it? And the likes of Mount, they've been 2 of the, you know, top players for Chelsea.
Yeah,
so
I mean, the hard thing for him as well, he's come from Villa last season, where it's a big pitch, Villa. It's big pitch, it's open, and there's a lot of grass, there's a lot of space. You know, he goes and plays for Chelsea, you kick off, he goes up front, and he's sitting on the edge of the box, and there's nowhere to make runs. And he needs time to learn that, you know, to get a bit more cute. And it's not just about going over the top and running onto things. We see that with Demba Ba come from Newcastle to Chelsea. You know, at Newcastle, teams attacked, the ball went over the top, it was great. You know, he went to Chelsea, and that's why probably Lukaku got let go, because he didn't have that cuteness. But Abrahams is young enough now, and hopefully Frank keeps on playing him. I hope he plays him. You know, all you can do is score goals. I like him. He's enthusiastic, and he's a hard-working lad.
You'll like this stat then. He's the first Englishman to score at least 2 goals in consecutive Premier League appearances for Chelsea since Frank Lampard in 2010. Interesting one, isn't it? Right, let's focus on Manchester United now, because obviously they went to St Mary's and could only grind out a draw after going 1-0 ahead. We talk about young teams. Manchester United, this is actually the youngest team on average when you put all of their ages together in the Premier League this season. Have a little look at this. So 24 years is their average combined age. You can see Chelsea there as well, 4th in that table. Wow. Manchester United, it's funny, isn't it? Because they did make some signings. They obviously strengthened at the back. They brought in Harry Maguire. They've got experience in there. They've got the likes of Paul Pogba. But Daniel James seems to be one of their standout performers at the moment.
Daniel James, he was fantastic last year for Swansea. I mean, he almost wasn't in their side early season and just came into their side as an impact player early on. And then I think it was about 7 or 8 games in, you thought, you know what, this kid's got such blistering pace. But he's also got great end product with it as well, which we speak about a lot about some of these players that even at the top level. I'm not talking about a kid who's come from the Championship from Swansea, but you speak about, you know, a lot of them have got great athleticism, but sometimes, you know, that little bit of extra quality and that deftness of touch. Daniel James has got all of that, not at the top level yet, and it isn't proven. But he could be a really, really good signing for Man United in years to come.
He seems to really enjoy really entertaining and aesthetically pleasing goals, doesn't he?
Oh, I mean, that's a special goal the other day. I mean, it's not even bent in the top corner, it's drilled in the top corner. I mean, so natural. And yeah, I'm a big fan. I think if you can get pace and then you can get an end product at the end and then get that calmness at the same time, composure. We see so many run 100 mile an hour and then the ball goes behind the goal. We've seen it Traore with Wolves. I mean, he's getting a little bit better as it goes along now. But this kid, I mean, I like what Man United are doing. Wan-Bissaka, young lad. James, young. You know, Maguire's not the oldest in the world. And as you say, it's a young team. I think if you put up Man City's team, I don't think that's the youngest team in the world, Man City. So, you know, I think Man United and teams like that are probably planning for when Pep Guardiola and Klopp leave, and then all of a sudden all these players are 26, 27, they're in their pomp, they've got 100, 200 Premier League games, and then all of a sudden it swings. We've seen it so many times. We've seen Man United up there, now they're not up there. We've seen Arsenal up there, not up there. And we've seen Chelsea. And, you know, and now Liverpool weren't up there. Now they're up there with Man City. It's weird how it works. You know, who would have said Man United would be where they were 6 years ago? We'd think Man United would win the league every year, forever.
Should we be concerned, though, with that performance at St Mary's, go up and then to concede by Jan Vestergaard getting the equaliser? What's it down to? We talk about a young team. Are there leaders on that pitch? Is that what they're lacking?
I just don't think they've quite got that that synergy, have they, together as a team? I don't feel at the moment they've quite gelled. I know they're trying to go young, and again, we speak about a young team. A young team perhaps gives you a little bit more pace and energy. It allows you perhaps to press a little bit higher of a pitch if that's what you want to do. But ultimately, you don't get points for having a young team, do you? You know, it has to fulfil the criteria of how you want to play, your methodology, what you want to get out onto the pitch. I just look at Man United at the moment, and yes, they've strengthened in certain areas. I think Maguire's a good signing, Wan-Bissaka's an excellent signing. We spoke about James. But I just look all over, and there's still times when you see the likes of Pogba still strolling through games, and you just see that you'd never quite feel they're as hungry as Man City and Liverpool. When I watch those two teams, the managers just seem to inspire those incredible performances, don't they?
I think when I watch Man United play, I just think there's no plan. It's like what happens is going to be off the cuff. You watch Man City play, and you know, you watched the goal the other day when Walker gets the ball, Mahrez runs inside, he plays it, backheels it, and De Bruyne comes around him, he crosses it, Aguero takes 2 touches, puts it in the top corner. It's like you'd imagine they worked on that in training. When I watch Man United, it's going to happen. Like the goal with James, it just goes by, and then it gives to James, and he cuts inside and bang. It wasn't a training round. When I watch Man United, Man City, and Liverpool play, it seems like they work on stuff, and they got a plan, and they got patterns of play. I don't see that with Man United. I don't see someone flicking it round the corner, someone coming for him. I mean, the Man City goal is a special goal, and you'd put that on the training pitch. I don't see that with Man United at the moment. I don't know if it's because they're a young team and they need to gel, but Man United, I just find Liverpool and Man City, they remind me of an American football team. They have like a load of patterns of play on their arm, like the quarterback's arm, and they all go home and read it. And when I watch the other teams play, it seems it's right. This is the team. Good luck.
But they don't have that quarterback brain.
They don't. Yeah, they don't have. They don't. All, when Liverpool go and squeeze, they squeeze. Everybody goes and squeezes, and they all know what they're doing. When I watch certain other teams play, they play 4-3-3 or they play 4-3-1-2, but they don't know all when to go. You know, someone will go there, and they just get picked off. You know, it's not. I just don't see a plan. I just don't see a plan with it. I just don't see it with them two teams. I do. One goes, they all go. Never, very rarely do they get picked off and passed around, and then all of a sudden you're like, the other team are away. They're away. That's just me.